And it says we're live. Okay. Selima, everyone. Happy February 14th. Is that a day, you guys? Is that like that sounds like it should be Valentine's Day or something. I don't know. I am so out of the loop when it comes to what normal society does. I have no clue. So I have a very limited focus, which is astrology, Sumerian, ancient languages, and a few other things, writing, that type of thing. So I don't know I don't even know what day Valentine's Day, but it feels like it was sometime around February 14th, if I recall. So anyways, if you're into that and you celebrate it, happy Valentine's Day, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. What are we doing today? Today, we're going to look at the sky, get you a forecast here for the next few days. And let me see. Am I sharing? I'm already sharing the screen, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. So let's see here. As you can see, the sun is making its way into Aquarius. I talked at length about this the other day. I won't rehash the whole thing, but I do have that video clipped if you want to get it off of my channel. But basically, I talk about the origins of this constellation, the water bear. You know, one of the things I didn't mention is that there are a lot of similarities between the Sumerian Enki and as far as being the water bear and the Hindu goddess Saraswati. What's really interesting, they're both artistic, civilized deities of wisdom and knowledge and pretty much all civilized things. But what's interesting is that the oldest depictions of Aquarius we have are very androgynous. Some might say that there were actually a female pouring out, holding two vases and pouring out pouring out water from two vases or jugs of water or whatever. So obviously those two water sources are going to relate to the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Obviously in the modern depiction, we don't have that. Do we have it in the old one? Let me pop it up real quick, you guys, and we'll just see. So we want these sky cultures. This program I'm using is Stellarium. You can download it for free at stellarium.org, and I highly recommend that you do that so you can see all of these things. You don't have to rely on my word or anybody else's word. You can go in there and check this stuff out. So he does have two streams, but they're not pouring out from side to side. They're kind of just next to each other. And I suspect we're looking at the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in here somehow. All right, so let me go back because I will get distracted looking at the pretty pictures. And the next thing you know, we'll just be in another plane of reality. I don't know what will be happening. Modern, we want modern. That's it. Okay. Yes. So as I said, I scheduled the stream an hour early, and that's because I went to the water park yesterday with my daughter, a belated birthday trip, and we swam for 7 hours, and I did consistent laps for probably about 3 hours total out of that whole thing. So I came home last night and I was wired. My body did not want to go to sleep. So that means I did not sleep very well, and I'm not the brightest today. So just being honest with you. Oh, let's see. We do have the conjunction still here with Mercury. That's not really that strange. Mercury and the sun are usually very close together. And if you're new here and you don't know, when the sun and Mercury are together, it softens Mercury's cognitive aspects, and the creative side as well as the intuitive side really starts to come out. So in Mesopotamia, Mercury was associated with water, and that is the creative and fertile element. And, you know, it's not just the cognitive stuff that you see in the modern interpretation. Venus still hanging out here in Pisces. Yes, that is Pisces. Although this fish of Pisces was not originally a fish, it was a bird, likely a swallow or a dove. So we get a lot more terrestrial, maybe we could say, associations with this side of Pisces that we don't maybe see when we relate specifically to the fish. Jupiter is clearly still conjunct with Aldebaran, still a great, something beautiful to see in the night sky. If you have some time, definitely go check that out. Mars right smack here in the middle of Gemini. And that's going to be going on here for a few more weeks, and it'll eventually start making its way back into Cancer. If anybody's telling you that Mars is in Cancer, they have not looked at the sky. They don't know They don't know, you guys. God love them. God bless them, because they just don't know. As of today, the moon is right here making its way into Virgo. I would still consider this to be Leo, although I think by the time we get to the tail end, we're already in that cuspy area, and it doesn't really matter. You're going to get the overlap. So as the moon wanes in this part of the sky, hopefully I don't crash my video card here, we start to, well, first of all, Virgo is, this was two women. Will they show up over here? Let me see if I can pop this over real quick. What am I doing? Sky culture. We want the moolah pin again. Yes. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this over here. We have right behind the lion, we have this frond of Eridu, which is a date frond. It's got little dates hanging on here. Okay. This was one part of Virgo. The other one, which this depiction has it laying down like it's some dirt, and there's a little channel in here. This is the seed furrow. But a lot of other depictions are going to have it standing up. So basically what we were looking at is two women kind of similar to this guy over here. One standing behind the lion, and we see this in the Egyptian Dendera zodiac as well. And then the other one was down here, and she was holding some, either some wheat or some barley, likely barley. And Spica was probably where this should have been. This is just one artist depiction, and she actually did, I think it's a she actually did a really good job. Both she and the, I don't know if she's an archaeologist, the person, whoever that they worked with to get these depictions. But what happened was over time, they kind of combined them both and made one giant woman. And they also, and I believe it was the Arabian astrologers or astronomers who basically tipped her on her side, and now she's laying this way. So instead of two women, one standing here and the other one standing up here, they kind of just got smushed down, and now they're laying down. Okay. Either way, they're all the same goddess. Okay. Both the furrow and the frond of Eridu, they are basically in their oldest form. We're looking at the oldest named mother goddess. Her name was Ninhursag, and it translated as Queen of the Sacred Mountain. And it was just another name for the Mother Earth. Okay. So this right here is Mother Earth in the sky, which happens to overlap to large extent, I believe, with the current meanings. I'd have to look them up because I don't really remember all the modern meanings. I don't know if today's Valentine's Day. It seems like maybe it is. I feel like somewhere in February there's a Valentine's Day, but I could be totally wrong. I'm not sure. Anyways, when the moon moves into the earth, so to speak, health and wealth and all things related to the material world and our material survival become illuminated. They become more of a focus. All right, so I talked about this a little bit the other day. As the moon starts to make its way through here, as it's waning, this is a phenomenal time, you guys, a phenomenal time to get rid of anything in your physical body that you don't want anymore, any bad physical habits. And this is going to peak midday on the 17th, midday if you're in Egypt, but obviously got to do the math. My lat long I'm using is for the Giza Plateau. And that is going to continue probably. I mean, we're still going to have some of it down here, but once we start getting into the feet, we're really getting some of that overlapping energy. So into the 19th, we're going to be getting it with Libra. So the vast majority of this energy that you can take advantage of to, again, get rid of some nasty habits, maybe detox your body. Start a new diet. I know a lot of people don't like to start something new during the waning moon, but don't look at it like you're starting something new. Look at it like you're getting rid of some of the old dietary habits that you don't want, and really take advantage and clean out your physical system. Now, when you take advantage of these energies this way, you will find that it is much easier. Okay, this is just the natural current, the way that everything's moving. So it's going to be obviously easier for that reason alone, but also you're going to get and see benefits, maybe not immediately, although it could be, in the financial areas of life. Okay. Now, the reason for this is your finances are just a macrocosm of your ability to gather, produce, gather, and use your resources. Okay. So prior to, and I can't go down the rabbit hole of advanced ancient civilizations. I try to do things based on evidence, and I just don't have enough evidence for that. But generally speaking, we can conclude that sometime after the end of the last ice age, which despite what the people at Archaics will tell you, was not just a few thousand years ago, you guys. Trust me, I have had that conversation. I will have that conversation again in the future. But when society moved either into or back into agrarian society, okay, we started farming either for the first time or again, we found ourselves in a position to be able to accumulate more resources, to basically, whether that was in the form of grain or any type of crops, we were able to settle down and start just amassing this. Okay, this became the first real amassing of wealth. Okay, now in Sumer in particular, they would pay for goods and services a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times they'd use barley, like actual barley corns. So that became like, that's our first type of currency before people started using precious metals. And it's not a coincidence that this goddess is holding either barley or wheat or, various crops, agricultural crops, because she's associated with farming, with being able to gather and store these resources, and then the wealth that comes from that. So she very much relates to, even in modern times, she relates to your bank account, your physical body, your ability to feed yourself, to a large extent, your body's ability to process the food that you put inside of it. So if you have depending on different placements, and I'm not going to go into all of them right now, but sometimes a strong Virgo in a chart can result in some what becomes gut health issues, but it's not usually right out of the gate. It's something that kind of takes a while. Anyways, as the moon is moving through here, these things become more of a focus. Now, I started this saying, like, let's get rid of some of the nasty stuff in your body. Or I say us, like I can, use some of this energy too. But we can also tie up loose financial ends. We can pay off some debts. We can clean our houses. People don't realize your physical body is another macrocosm, or excuse me, your house is a macrocosm of your physical body. So holding on to stuff, it's just junk. Okay. It's just junk, like especially old knickknacks and just broken stuff. You're like, oh, I'm going to fix that later. Do yourself a favor, become a minimalist, get rid of as much stuff as you possibly can. You will notice that your physical body feels better, just energetically, you're lighter. Your emotions are generally happier. You don't need all that stuff. Okay. So this really is one of the constellations we lucked out with the modern meanings. There's a lot of overlap as far as the original meanings and the current ones. So again, this is going to be happening well into, we want to say the 19th, and then we're going to go into Libra, which I'm not going to cover today because I will be back doing. So Wednesday, me and Nikki are going to be on with Tommy Westland from the Swedish Alchemical Society, I believe I'm saying it correctly. And then the next day, so that's Thursday, I'm going to be back on here by my onesies, I suspect. And then I will definitely go through this and what this means for Libra. So if you aren't already, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff. Okay. Let me see here. Do I want to go through, what else did we skip? Hold on. Yeah, we can probably, because that's all pretty much in the same spot. All right, let me reshare my screen. Stand by. See if I can multitask with limited cognitive function. It is very possible that I cannot. So share the screen. Good. No, not the entire screen, just a little. Okay, there we go. All right. So what do we got here? We have February 14th. And this is for my local time. I'm in Yekaterinburg, Russia. If you didn't know, that's why it's dark here, even though it's probably for most of our viewers in the United States or Canada. It's nice and bright and sunny, hopefully where you are, but that's what's going on. But it doesn't really matter. We could pick any spot on the globe. Most of these are going to, with the exception of the moon, maybe some of the precise aspects are going to get a slight shift in the aspects, but nothing too big. All right, so today, February 14th, may or may not be Valentine's Day, don't know. We do have which is good if this is gosh, I should look it up. I don't trust my browser not to crash if I try to Google it. So I'm just gonna run with it, and I'm just not gonna be sure. So maybe if somebody's out there watching, even though I told you guys everybody the wrong time today, let me know if today is in fact Valentine's Day. Anyways, if it is, this is good news because we have a sextile. Hold on, my daughter's giggling in the other room. Stand by. Okay, she's giggling hysterically, so I don't know if you can hear that. Yes, the moon is what we look to in a horoscope to really pin down details. Okay, the sun moves pretty slow compared to the moon. The moon's just whipping through the zodiac every month. So this is the one that I and hopefully other astrologers also use to find day-to-day forecasts. But today we have this beautiful sextile between the moon and Mars. Now, I can't speak to what other astrologers see in Mars. I can tell you that in my experience and my research, Mars is a planet of intimacy, among other things, okay? It can be pleasure, it's creativity, fertility. Yeah, it's got some less than cheerful traits at times. You know, it can overthink, it can be a little egotistical, maybe too pleasure driven, too quick to anger and emotions and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's our base sensitivity, okay? This is great when you are interacting with other people, say a loved one or a friend, even a coworker, sometimes acquaintances, or a romantic partner, and so on and so forth. It opens up a deeper emotional connection. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about love and bliss and rage. I'm more talking about the literal day-to-day stuff, okay? Like laughter, pleasure, you know, sharing a meal with someone, having a good time, that type of thing. Now, sextiles, as far as some of these aspects go, they're not quite as intense as like a trine or a conjunction or, you know, whatever some of the other ones are. Instead, it's a little twinge in here. It's a little tweak, but it is enough to take advantage of if that's something you want to do. So hopefully, as long as, and I don't know for sure because I don't know what your individual chart looks like. I mean, you could totally be set up for failure today. But generally speaking, for the world at large, I think that this is a good thing. Generally, the moon is very positive. Here still in Leo, it's going to bring in nice, creative, fertile energy, which Leo is already a very intimate planet. I know it's not always fun loving. There's definitely some darker stuff in there too at times, but for the most part, this is a really good placement. It's pulling these two in, especially with Mars and Gemini. It makes Mars much more sensitive, more empathic, and allows people to form deeper emotional relationships. Now, if you are in a romantic relationship, obviously this is a great day to go out, have fun, celebrate with your significant other or others, I guess. If you are not, if you are just out with friends or just, you know, spending time, I would probably either spend time with a loved one during this time, or I would do like a creative project, maybe get more exercise or do something that's more exciting as opposed to like staying home and reading a book, okay? Unless it's a really good fantasy and you're going on a mental adventure, in which case go for it. When we go on to the 15th over here, which is tomorrow, we start to see, now technically, we're already feeling this. I keep a really tight orb on my program, so my aspects only show up when we're really, really close, but technically we're still getting this energy. So right now, the Sun and Ceres are conjunct, and this has been going on for a little while, and they're very, very close to Mercury at the same time, as we saw in the other chart that I had pulled up. Now, while these are sextile with the galactic center, which is what this little symbol is down here that looks like a eye inside of the hurricane, this opens up our intuition for everyone. Okay, this makes, and it does it in a vast way in your life. Okay, so it's not just going to be in one area. It's not just going to be in the relationships or maybe in your physical body, or, you know, if you actually do psychic work or something, it's not just going to be in that. Because it's connected to the sun, it's going to open it up in all forms. Now, this happens every year at this exact same time. It happens multiple times during the year. But because the sun is conjunct with Ceres at the same time, we get more of this bleed over into our community. Now, I say the community, okay, because in my experience and having tracked this as well as Vesta, the two largest asteroids in the asteroid belt, Ceres tends to influence our community. It's the environment that we're spending most of our time in. Now, for some people, this is your circle of friends. Sometimes it's your coworkers, it's your town. It's where you're spending most of your time, your social time, okay, outside of the home. And for a lot of people in modern times, that is unfortunately the career. I guess that's not like the funnest place to do that. But anyways, this allows us, again, to tune into what's going on in the community, okay, with our circle of friends or coworkers or whatever. Now, if you have some old karmic drama that you have to solve, could this make things a little bit trickier? Sure, it could. But generally speaking, it's going to allow us to read each other a little bit better. It's going to allow us to feel what's going on in the tribe, in the community. Now, if your only community is online, that could be good or bad, because if there's, again, drama in the community, you may pick up a little bit more of that than you otherwise would. But it's not set in stone. There's nothing inherently negative or positive in here. It's just a different level of energy that's shifting through. Now, the good news is, if that wasn't already good news, is that Mercury's placement here allows us to learn from these experiences. So it's combining our intuition with these relationships, and it's letting our mind kind of integrate with our psychic perception, so that we can come to maybe deeper realizations about our place in the community, in the tribe, than we otherwise might be able to. And then let's see here on the 16th. We have, as the moon's rocking here through the middle of Virgo, we have this trine with Jupiter, which is still conjunct with Aldebaran in Taurus, as we saw before. Now, on the last call, Nikki was talking a little bit about Jupiter and Jupiter's dark side. I can't verify that one way or another. It's not something I've necessarily seen, but if there is, what I have seen with Jupiter is, it doesn't, this was Enlil, okay? And he was pretty much the god of everything between the earth and the supreme celestial god, An, or Anu, as he was called in Babylon. Yes, related to the Anunnaki, the princely sons of An. But anyways, he had no tolerance for wickedness or corruption. And we have multiple examples of this, the way that he and his cities were referred to in mythology. If somebody's not doing something on the up and up, okay, Jupiter is, I know you don't get this in the modern system. They usually talk about Saturn being the one who's, that's where your karma is coming. That's where you're going to get your comeuppance if you're doing something shady. But Jupiter definitely has that in him. And he's going to shake things up for you a little bit if you are, in fact, not behaving or speaking or living the way that you're supposed to. So I'm not saying that that's happening just based on this. As a matter of fact, usually Jupiter is at least in the Mesopotamian system, again, I can't speak for the other ones, Jupiter is very creative. It's outwardly creative. Sometimes it is romantic. It is overtly sexual. It is adventurous. It wants to go out and kind of make its mark on the world, so to speak. So this is definitely, especially if you have a strong Jupiter, this is definitely a day for that, okay? Be careful with your words and your actions. You're much more likely to have an impact. So hopefully that's an impact that you want to have. Otherwise, it's a great day to focus on creative projects. Again, spend time with loved ones, possibly romantic partners, maybe go out and socialize. Or just try to help somebody. Just try to serve people, It doesn't have to be anything more than that. But obviously the moon in here is favoring that. And if you do want to use some of this Virgo energy in relation to the moon, I would say this is a great day, again, to make some changes. Jupiter's a change planet. Make some changes in your physical body. Or diet or, exercise or whatever. All right, so we get to the 17th. And we kind of... hold on, I definitely need a drink. Stand by. Entertain yourself for 1 second. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, so the moon moves over here. We lose that aspect that we had. Now, it is still relatively right between, if we're going to look as an opposition, this midpoint between Venus and Uranus. Now, in my experience, Uranus is a partnership planet. And when he and Venus, we'll call him he, I guess, when he and Venus get together, they form partnerships, usually in the very compatible partnerships, either within the personal or professional relationships. Here in this midpoint, we're looking at an emphasis. Possibly it could be pulling these two apart a little bit and keeping them separate, but it could also pull them, kind of pull them closer together, depending on probably the individual chart. But it's going to, either way, it's going to bring these higher emotional relationships and these partnerships to the forefront. So you're probably more likely to have to deal with them. Again, this is going to be more so on the 17th. And we still have this sextile here with Ceres. I would still count it too, with the sun going on with the galactic center. So that's basically what we have for the next few days coming up. I'll probably, was there something else I wanted to tell you? I did not, you guys, I was not prepared today. Again, spent too much time swimming at the water park and my brain is definitely fried. I will be back. What's today? Today is, oh, I'll be back Friday, Saturday. There's another day I'm coming. Hold on one second. Let me just check my calendar. That's a little bit easier to do. What do we got here? We have a calendar. Yes, that's correct. And okay, Monday. We'll be back Monday with more forecast for you. If there's something in particular you want me to look at, you just got to let me know. I will be prepared and make that happen. I definitely usually have more people on here, but again, I jumped on an hour early, so nobody was prepared. It's definitely a surprise. So, otherwise, I wish you guys, if it is indeed Valentine's Day, I wish you a happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate. And otherwise, have a good day and take very good care of yourselves over there. And I just want you to know that I love you. I'm sending you love, and have a great rest of your weekend.